Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, husband buys coffee machine. Upset that he has to use it. Grandmother tried to ruin the party, but in the end, got owned. Lady wants my grandma to give up her bus seat. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Husband buys coffee machine. Upset that he has to use it. My husband loves coffee. He is the only one in the house who drinks it. Tea/coffee gives me acidity and insomnia, so I don't drink. Recently, he bought a fancy machine that makes delicious coffee. The only problem is that the coffee trickles down drop by drop. It takes around 4 to 5 minutes to fill a tumbler, but can feel like forever if you have nothing else to do but stand there and watch it trickle down. I get the coffee machine going every morning while getting dear daughter, Dee, ready for school and making her breakfast. When he comes down after getting ready, his tumbler is ready to go. He leaves, then I take Dee to school, come back, and work from home. So recently, I had an injury that left me bedridden. Luckily, it was Dee's midterm break, so there was no pressure of getting up early to prepare her meal and taking her to school. Only thing left was the coffee. Husband says, "No problem, I will make it myself." Day 1, 2, 3, he makes the coffee. Also cleans the machine after every use. Day 4, this is too much and wasting my time. Me, why don't you switch on the machine tomorrow and get back upstairs to get ready? We live in a duplex, bedroom and dressing room upstairs, kitchen and living room downstairs. Also, he has stopped cleaning the machine. Day 5, he is upset because he had to run up and down twice to tend to his coffee. My next suggestion, move your toiletries to the downstairs washroom for a few days so you can get ready there. I'm not comfortable with that. Well, now the only solution left is to wake up early. Day 6, 7, 8, he wakes up early to make his coffee. He no longer cleans the machine. Day 8 evening, I'm very tired. My sleep cycle is whacked me, looks like you need to make more coffee. LOL. Day 9, he is now side-eyeing me and guilt-tripping, hoping I would crawl down the stairs to make his coffee. Not happening. So he calls up the maid and tells her to start coming early to make his coffee. She is a part-time helper, and there's no way she'll come this early. Day 10, he has given up. Now he is buying his coffee from outside, and the machine remains unused. How old is he mentally? 12? A 12-year-old has more initiative and responsibility than this. I'd say he was 4. My daughter makes coffee and cleans the machine with zero whining, and she's 25. Has been doing it for years. Whatever you do, don't ever make his coffee again. If it's too much of an effort for him, it's certainly too much of an effort for you. In all of this, has he even once thanked you for making his coffee all the rest of the days? Has he reached the conclusion that you do a lot for him that he hasn't reflected on and has taken for granted? If so, has he expressed any gratitude toward you for this? Or has he simply been focusing on his own inconvenience? Sounds like you absolutely should not start making coffee for him again when you are able to, if this is the level of gratitude he shows you. OMG no. He can't even be bothered with his own coffee. WTH. One of the things that my hubby and I insisted on when we got a coffee maker was that it had a programming feature. We can set it up at night and program it to make coffee at 6 a.m. It's been wonderful. Even if it doesn't have a programming option, you can make your own with a plug-in timer like you'd use for a lamp. It's a standard feature on any coffee maker that costs over $20. My dad used to make coffee every morning in one of those glass Pyrex percolators. 1 teaspoon for every cup, 1 for the pot was his recipe. He'd pour in the water from the kitchen sink, add his Bulger's coffee from the 3-pound can, set the burner on the electric stove just right, then head off to shower, shave, and get ready for work. Once dressed, his coffee was ready and off he'd go. Grew up to the lovely smell of brewing coffee every morning, but can't stand the taste of it. OP, maybe hubby should try an inexpensive percolator instead? My son bought one. And that was what my parents always used. He still uses my French press way more. My fiancé has a coager, or however it's spelled, takes about 2 minutes for everything: putting coffee in, pressing button, putting cup under for coffee, and filling the cup. It's a good thing he didn't get a French press. Also, tell him to start drinking it black, no sugar. I have a French press and I sometimes still use mine espresso when pressed for time or just lazy. I love both. The cheap coffee machines make the coffee just as good and quicker. I'm guessing this is one of those very fancy machines that grinds the beans, steams the milk, brews espresso, and puts them all together into a latte, cappuccino, or similar like this one. While I haven't tried one of these, I highly doubt that your average Mr. Coffee drip machine will make coffee just as good. You are right that it would be quicker though. As good? I'd have to disagree. Acceptable? Absolutely. And I'm someone who's been known to go so low as instant coffee on a hectic Monday. But a fresh ground French press on a Sunday morning is an indulgence worth the time and effort. Are you using it right? That sounds like a long time to make a coffee, making me think maybe there is something wrong with the machine? The 4 to 5 minutes time includes warming up and foaming milk and cleaning up the machine. I would have left his coffee machine dirty if he didn't clean it and let him worry about it. You are not his maid, you are his wife, and if he doesn't want to do his share, in this case make his own darn coffee, then let him do without or continue to buy. When you feel better, I'd keep making him do his own. He's an adult, not a child. Grandmother tried to ruin the party, but in the end, got owned. I, 28F, have a grandmother, 91F, that have the worst relationship. She's emotionally abusive, has done favoritism to kids, grandchildren, and great-grandkids, and verbally abused me, and I can keep on going, but trust me, I wouldn't finish. I cut her off and pretend she doesn't exist after she was glad that my older brother, 25 at the time of his passing in 2014, and when I delivered my dead baby, she said she was pleased that happened to me. After that, at every family event or family reunion, I would pretend she doesn't exist. She tried to get her favorite grandchildren, my cousins, 33F, 30M, and 26F, and younger brother, 23M, to try to convince me to talk to her or say hi to her. We're Puerto Rican and unfortunately we're taught to respect our elders, but I didn't care. She's tried everything in her book and nothing worked. In 2021 my dad got a call from his sister, 52F, grandma's favorite daughter, and told him that grandma was sick and wanted every child and grandchild to take care of her since she couldn't do it alone. I refused, saying I had college classes and work, and I wasn't going to be doing it since knowing her she would abuse me verbally. What I didn't know is that I was on speaker and grandma started crying because I disrespected her. She got her favorite grandchildren to try to convince me to take care of her, but I told them off. So, a month ago I graduated from college with my associate degree, and one of my aunts organized a barbecue for the ones who graduated in birthdays in May. She was invited to the barbecue, but I didn't let that get the best of me. We were all having a good time until it was time to do a cheer and congratulations for birthdays and graduations. One of my aunts said in her cheer that after 20 years they have another magna cum laude graduate and that she's proud of me for never giving up. Everyone was proud until my grandmother screamed to please respect the ones that didn't graduate magna cum laude, like my aunt said I was the only one while the other ones were recent high school graduates, or please respect the ones that didn't go to college to waste their time. My younger brother didn't go. I kept a cool and calm head, and I called her out for everything: that she was mad that youngest favorite granddaughter didn't graduate magna cum laude, how she loves to defend abusers, my younger brother has domestic violence history, and how I was done being the verbal punching bag, and much more. My grandmother, favorite daughter, and grandchildren left, and the party kept on going. I come to my apartment to see multiple messages to apologize to grandma because she felt offended for what I did, but they're blocked, including my brother. Other family members are on my side since they all had to endure my grandma's verbal abuse. So yeah, I'll keep clapping back at her. Of course, Granny was offended. You spoke the truth, and she didn't want you to. Keep on speaking your truth. It will free you. And remind her that respect is a two-way street. Thank you, and I will. Plus, I think she was even more mad, because the attention wasn't on her favorite grandchildren. Generational trauma is hard to break. Good on you, OP. The first to break it, and some cousins are joining me on breaking it. Especially when it's coming from the same person. This woman has spent over 70 years insulting and berating her own family. Once she's gone, the family will fall apart. Try to convince me to talk to her or say hi to her. She got her wish. What's she complaining about? The favorite children and grandchildren can take care of her. Part of me wants to feel sorry since my brother is part of the favorite grandchildren. Then I remember the massive asshole that he is, and I don't feel bad at all. The one who aren't worth your effort just made it as easy as if they all lit themselves on fire. No contact, pendejos. Don't worry, they are those cabrons, could rot for all I care, and even if one of them is my younger brother, I don't care. Good for you for standing up to an obviously abusive person. And I'm so sorry for the loss of your child. I've been there, and having abusive words thrown at you after has to be some of the worst pain imaginable. You should be proud to grow as a wonderful person. Abusive family be damned. While I was reading this, I kept thinking, is this one of my husband's uncles writing this? We have a similar situation ongoing right now. She has summoned all kids and grandkids, both estranged and not, to her recently and told us all she was dying. She's 96. A lot of us humored her and sat with her. I myself did at least 3 times in the last couple weeks. All of her kids are currently fighting about keeping her out of a nursing home, even though she needs 24-hour care now, and they want the grandkids to step in and help. My husband has refused on our behalf due to his lack of relationship with her, and I'm about to have another baby. One of my husband's uncles got a lot of grief from everyone else because she somehow had the strength to show up at a grandkid's house warming party, and they have been estranged for 10 plus years, and he refused to be in the same room as her. I've expressed everyone needs to accept his wishes, including her, and everyone else is up in arms and telling him to get over it. Whatever it is, I don't know the whole story. It's bizarre to me that people think they are required to accept toxic family members and toxic behavior. Good for you for being honest. Hilarious that she's so full of herself that she thought you wouldn't respond to that. Lady wants my grandma to give up her bus seat. So I take the bus with my grandmother to help since she can't read the bus numbers, but she knows where she's going. She has a very good sense of direction for her age. I just tell her where the stop is located, and she sees the city bus colors and just asks the driver what number bus they are. She isn't blind, however, her vision is very bad. One morning we were taking the bus to go to a Walmart to get some groceries. When we get on the bus, we both sit at the disabled spot at the beginning. My grandmother has trouble walking or standing, and must exit at the front of the bus where it goes down. We sit where it's 2 disabled seats, so we take them up. 2 stops go by and a lady comes on. I should note the bus was pretty full as we were nearing the plaza. She walks over with her bags, and I see another woman behind her. I go back out to looking through the window. She stops in front of me, and all I hear is a snap. I turn my head to her. L. Lady. OP. Ni G. Grandma. D. Daughter. L. Dear, you need to move. I need the seats for me and my daughter. OP. I can move, but only 1 seat will be available. L. Well, you both need to move. OP. No. I don't mind moving because I can stand, but my grandmother isn't because she can't. I then proceed to stand up, and I move to in front of my grandma, so I'm still close. I knew I might have to give my seat if this happened, but I don't care since I can stand for the 15 minutes on the bus. L. My daughter needs the other seat. OP. I'm sorry, my grandmother isn't moving, she needs the seat. G. I don't have good legs. I had knee surgery. L. Just move. The lady throws herself on the seat next to my grandmother and almost hits her with her purse. Opie, she's not moving, period. The lady let out this big huff. I don't get why. Her daughter looked just as annoyed, and I don't want to call them entitled, but it feels like it. D, I have bad legs too. So I have to sit down. OP, no offense, but I don't care. You can wait till we're off the bus to have our seat or wait for someone else to get up. D, no, I want it now. At this point she kept yelling, but I ignored her, realizing it wasn't going anywhere. They never tried anything violent, but she kept making noise the whole 15 minutes. I got off the bus with my grandma, and that was the end of it. I would have smacked them if they even played a hand on her. I don't know where this story fit, but I think it fits here since they were two entitled people, and I don't like engaging with people a lot who fight, but I wasn't gonna let them push around my grandma or guilt her into getting up or something. Edit. I am not stating that young people cannot have a disability. The point of posting was more of a rant that she expected my grandmother to give up the seat. We would have had a different conversation had it just been me alone. If I was alone, I would have just stood and ignored them and dropped it cause I didn't care. It's my grandma I argued with them for. If that makes sense. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and this tree is teaching the apple that entitled behavior is how to act in public. Veruca Salt. OMG. I'm so confused with their logic. The daughter has bad knees and the lady seems fine. So, why did the lady sit? Like, she could have given it to her daughter who needs it more. Lady isn't selfless enough to let her daughter sit, lol. No, sorry, I made it confusing. My grandma has the bad knees since she has surgery and has metal replacements. Like she has metal around her kneecaps since her bones were too weak. The daughter felt entitled to my grandma's seat, but I wasn't letting my grandma suffer by standing and hurting herself or being in pain. The daughter saying her legs was bad was I feel an entitled comments to think she's special. People are so entitled these days. A few years ago, I was at Walmart. They were quite busy as usual. I legit have a reason to park in handicap parking. I was having a bad day, as I call it, health-wise that day, so I took the handicap parking spot. I don't always park in handicap, but I did that day. I noticed a very old four-door white car sort of sitting by the entrance of Walmart. I didn't think anything of it, and went and got my groceries. I was in there probably not even 10 minutes, because I wasn't feeling good. I have Crohn's, lupus, arthritis, just to name a few health conditions. At the time I was in my late 40s. When I went out to my car with my groceries, an old man said, "Excuse me, ma'am." He proceeded to tell me how I took his parking space. Mind you, he was walking better than I did. But because he was probably 80 plus years old, and he thought I was youngish and I wasn't in a wheelchair or anything, he felt entitled, I guess. I looked at him apologetically and said I'm sorry. But looking back now, I should have just said I'm sorry sir, but I every right to be here as you do. I did not see his name posted above the parking space. So I watched the old guy walk to his car, which was actually parked diagonally from my vehicle. Really? He parked less than 5 feet from me, probably. And he was complaining and confronting me about this. That white four-door car was his, so he wasn't even anywhere near the parking space when I parked. It's not like I zoomed in front of him or anything. I'm not a mind reader. How was I to know he was sitting 30 feet away, waiting for that space? It looked like was waiting to pick up somebody at Walmart, his feeble elderly wife, perhaps. Again, I'm not a mind reader. Anyway, if you're there first, the spot is yours. If you are inclined to give up your spot, that's your decision, but nobody should make you feel like you absolutely have to. I'm a bus driver and have dealt with this situation at least once a week for years now. I'd have ejected the lady and her daughter as soon as they started making a scene. This sort of behavior can escalate quickly, putting everyone at risk and/or behind schedule. I know a lot of drivers aren't comfortable with dealing with this sort of thing, so I get the driver not getting involved, but I won't tolerate this sort of thing on my bus. Imagine being so entitled that you try to get an old woman out of her seat just so you can use it. Despicable. The sheer audacity never fails to impress. Your poor grandma. I would have said sorry, first come first serve. Did the bus driver do nothing during all of this happening? The bus was driving while this was happening. I don't know if he heard or he didn't notice because he was locked in on driving. Does anyone remember the time when younger people would offer their seats to the elderly or disabled? I have dizzy attacks and blackouts, but on my good days I still offer my seat. I went to NYC back in the 90s. I am perfectly capable of standing, was in my late 50s back then. When we took the subway, several people offered up seats to me. I thought it was sweet. Unnecessary, but sweet. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.